And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Pucked Up, brought to you by My Garage Bar and, of course, Disruption Network. I got Z sitting right next to me. This is great, man. Good stuff. So here we are, right in the thick of things. Here we are, right in the thick of things. What is this, like the first official round of the playoffs, right?
No, it's the second round.
Yeah,
We're into the second round, but I mean, we just, you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But, man.
Your point was we're knocked out in the playing round. I understand. It's screwing you all up. I get it.
It is screwing me up. But, brackets busting, hearts breaking, tears falling.
I think my bracket was busted after the first game. So.
Yeah. And I hear we got an asteroid headed towards us. So everything is going wrong, right?
It's only 6 feet wide.
You know what?
I don't know why that was a headline.
Let me bring you in first. Mr.
Why wouldn't it be? That's why, right?
Mr. Mazat, where are you? You're right there. There he is. What's going on, man?
It's going. Yeah, I saw the headline, too. In fact, I said something to my wife about this morning. I'm like, I don't know why this was an article.
Yeah.
Like, they're just trying to screw with us now in 2020. There's an asteroid. It's going to hit the day before Election Day.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's going to hit the atmosphere and burn up because it's only 6 feet big. Like...
You know what? And I'm going to say this. I wish that Mike Goff was here. Mike Goff is like, you know Mike? No. You got super smart guy.
Kind of
like
Jared Goff.
Nah, not the same guy. But Mike was like super smart guy back in high school. You know, like we couldn't figure out why he was hanging out with us because he was like, if my life was Stand By Me, he would be the Will Wheaton. You know, while the rest of us were making birdhouses and things like that, he was like talking science, and he would tell you that asteroid is going to like level neighborhoods and stuff. That's what he would say.
6 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, he's the Will Wheaton. You got to talk to him. Yoshi, what's going on? I see you over there. Let me get you in here, and wham, you're there, buddy. What's up?
Yeah, here I am.
All right.
Not much. Started watching a docu-series. I guess, because it's multiple episodes.
Yeah.
It's like Darkness of the Ring or something or Dark Behind the Ring. It's on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah, it's about like behind the scenes of professional wrestling.
Oh, Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring. There it was.
Really?
Yeah, like the first episode's all about Macho Man and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. And then the second one was about Bret Hart when he got screwed out of the match in Montreal. So
excellent, man.
It hooked me right in. I mean, because when I grew up in like I guess the Attitude Era of WWF.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see all that.
I missed that. Do you even watch wrestling anymore?
I don't watch it anymore. I mean, if I'm flipping through and I see it on, I'll watch it. But
yeah. It's too much of a soap opera for me. I get on there. I like if I tune in, I don't even know who any of the people are anymore.
Oh no. Yeah,
like,
I mean,
just like Muscular Man 1 yelling at Muscular Man 2, and it's just like it's a total soap opera. Scott Kinville, what's happening, sir?
Well, to continue on that, I do keep the WWE Network though, just so I can watch the old stuff.
Yeah,
it's the best, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm addicted to like watching old Saturday Night's main events, WrestleMania 3. You know, I mean, it's just
the old stuff is still
takes
there.
you right back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So but yeah, you're right. The new stuff, forget it. Especially now that they're out the performance center.
Oh yeah. There's not even a crowd.
It's like, why don't you pick some high school gym to work out of? You know, like, come on.
Let me bring y'all in here. You know what I did notice is Kamala. Remember Kamala?
Yeah.
Kamala passed.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Yep.
And of course, the Ugandan headhunter with kimchi. They were showing some like behind the scenes video of him, and I didn't realize that long before Hulk Hogan slammed Andre, Kamala slammed Andre.
Yep.
Yeah. Who knew? That was a thing. Apparently, like if you slammed Andre, you got to the top of the mountain.
Well, we know who never did was Big John Studd.
Big John Studd never slammed Andre?
No, never did.
Oh, I don't know. We gotta ask our wrestling guys, man. They'll know. They know everything.
With a little cross promotion. There you go.
Yeah, there you go, man. A little cross promotion. Speaking of cross promotion, shameless cross promotion. We're gonna see if my other podcast comes out here pretty soon. 3 and Out, and I totally blanked on it for a minute. I'm like, what is my other podcast? 3. It's been. You want to know the real truth? I had a spider traumatize me the entire way down here. I almost killed like 10 people driving. It was crawling all over me. I couldn't stop and kill it. But 3 and Out. I think we're supposed to be starting that pretty soon. Jamie Ostonet returning, Erica returning. We'll get the whole cast. And actually, we got Ray Party jumping in. Ray Party should be hilarious. That dude is just. He's the man. So, yes. Oh, I can't wait. Anyways, let's talk hockey. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. First, I think we should, Washington Capitals. See ya. Todd Reardon, gone.
Bye-bye.
Are you surprised?
I'm not really surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore, but what was he, 2 seasons?
2 seasons. Yeah. That's it.
I mean, 2 seasons, 2 first-round exits, if I remember right.
Yep.
Right? And down the road you go.
I don't think it was fair. I don't think anything about this playoffs is really fair to the coaches.
Okay.
Like, it's tough. Like, it's tough for everybody. It's this whole thing where you had a break and now you're starting back up. I think, the fact that the team's competitive at all is a tribute to the coaches, And Reardon, granted, it wasn't much of a competition against the Islanders, but I think they could have given him one more year. I don't know if, any of the players had, obviously Ovi has influence. So I don't know if something like that happened, but... Yeah. I didn't think it was really a fair firing. I think everybody saw it coming if they lost again in the first round. But they went to 7 games last year with Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you can see the writing on the wall.
Anybody can win a game 7.
See, I got to disagree with you on that one because Washington has enough talent that they're going to win 100 points with that stool behind the bench. All right, there's that, but there's not that much talent on that team. But let's face it, throughout the year. That team played most of the year uninspired.
Yeah.
They were on cruise control. We're the Washington Capitals. We're going to win. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It goes right back to movie analogies in Rocky 3. It was like after Rocky won those 10 straight title defenses, after the Caps won the Cup, they lost their hunger, right? And Todd Reardon was doing nothing to inspire them whatsoever. And they just kind of went into the same rut over and over again. He refused to change any lines up, refused to change up any kind of power play combinations, maybe every once in a while, but then he'd get nervous and go right back to the same ones again. The Washington Capitals are a team that desperately needs to, A, get younger, and B, they needed a shakeup. They needed a new voice in that room. They need somebody to basically kind of grab them by the shirt and say, let's go, boys. The Cup winning year was 2-3 years ago. That's ancient history. We need to move on and get hungry again.
I always found it kind of weird. I mean, it's very much, and it's like this with every professional sport. It's like, what have you done for me lately? Right. And if you don't perform, there's no job really that's safe anymore.
Right. Because, even going back to that Carolina series, right? Number one, Carolina should never won that series. Mm-hmm. And 2, they should never have gone 7 games. I mean, let's face it, on paper, Washington should have blown them out of the water. Big time. But, I mean, you could just see you could see it starting in that series. They were just cruise control the whole time. We're the Caps. We're going to win this. Don't worry about it. And look what happened.
Because we're the Caps.
Exactly.
I wanted to talk to Jamie.
Sorry,
about
Jamie,
that.
but, know.
I saw one comment online. You guys might find this funny as I did. This kid said, they're only losing the Islanders because they're missing the top center in the NHL. And I was like,
Who?
Is Sydney on Washington all of a sudden? I'm like, who are they talking? I had to go look, and I'm like, oh, Backstrom was out. Okay.
Boy,
wow.
Top center
that was
in the
a stretch,
NHL.
man.
You know what? That's another thing that's going to come back to bite them because they gave him that 5-year extension at $9.5 million, and he's already 33. And he looks like he's kind of lost half a step already.
Yeah.
That's scary. And granted, I will say for Capitals fans before they completely want to kill me here, yes, the Islanders were a tough draw to get in the first round. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Nobody wants to play the Islanders.
No.
Nobody. But you also have to put a little effort in when you're playing any team in the playoffs, especially the Islanders. And frankly, that hunger and that desire and that effort was gone.
Kind of going with something Mazat said, though, this is just a weird year. You don't want to make excuses for people, but it is. Like the shutdown and the restart. A lot of teams, when they came back, really kind of look like they don't want to be there at all. The players just kind of skating. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about
they don't want to be in the bubble.
I don't know about being there, but I think as you watch hockey, the hockey you watch in October is not the same as the hockey you watch in February.
Right.
And there's no way that they were going to have 3 or 4 months off and give you March and April hockey. There's no way. Now we're building to it. I think we're still building to it. I'd say about now we're somewhere in December mode hockey, January mode hockey, you know, maybe somewhere leading around the Christmas break or something. But we're not up to full. Nobody's up to full speed yet.
Not only that, I think you saw a lot of when it was first started with the round robins and all. You took a lot of teams taking things for granted. let's face it. I mean, most of the teams that were playing the round robin, this is practice.
Yeah, they phoned it in.
Whatever. Yeah. Let's face it. Don't you think maybe Edmonton took Chicago a little for granted?
Absolutely.
Don't you think Pittsburgh took Montreal just a little for granted? They shouldn't be here anyways.
Who's Pittsburgh?
I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just saying. There was a lot of, I
think the Rangers did that too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams. But the qualifying round, like even looking back on it, I was just thinking about this last night. Even if had the Rangers not gotten the first draft pick, I was fine with them leaving because it's a qualifying round, right? So in your head, you're going like, these are the teams that might have missed the playoffs, might have made the playoffs, right? So when it's all done and that qualifying round's done, I'm just like, okay, so Pittsburgh didn't make the playoffs, the Rangers didn't make the playoffs, whatever. Like it didn't really faze me. What I did enjoy was getting to see my team play a little more because it was such an abrupt end to the season. And there's nothing ever wrong with that to me. Like you get to watch your team play a little more, and now they're out. Okay, rest up, get ready for next year. You know what I mean? Because these teams that are going to go deep into this playoffs, they're not going to have a ton of time to rebound and come back.
Oh, God, no. The NHL's already pushing schedules up, too.
Yeah, training camp's pretty much going to start as soon as that last game's done. As soon as the cup gets lifted in the air, training camp.
Now, I would agree with
we got to get the training camp.
I would agree with what Mazzotti said to a point, but if I were a Ranger fan, I wouldn't like the way they went out, just getting spanked all over the ice like that. But I will say that I've been following a lot of Rangers Twitter.
Just rub it in.
Look at I'm
just saying. Scott has this revisionist. They lost by a goal. They got spanked.
Let's put it this way: they're lucky they didn't get blown out by more than a goal. But you know what I've been doing a lot of lately? I've been following Rangers Twitter. That's entertainment because a lot of them now are blaming Quinn.
Is Mazzotti
they hate Quinn.
Oh yeah.
Because he wants to keep Brett Howden around. Brett Howden stinks. I don't know what they're doing keeping that guy around. He didn't prove anything in the play. It's like, dude, he's 22 years old. Settle down. Okay? Take it easy. I mean,
if we don't keep
Brett Howden was not the reason you lost to Carolina.
If we don't keep Brett Howden, then why did we trade J.T. Miller?
Right.
Exactly.
Because that's what we got for Brett Howden.
Right.
I'm
like, oh, my God. They want to blow the team up already because, no, you want to stick with that team.
Yeah, I don't. You don't
want to do any major disrupting to that team.
It's the Caps
some
Twitter.
Tweaks here and there, yeah, but
the Caps Twitter's doing the same thing.
I know, right?
Ovechkin right now. Oh, he's washed up. Yeah, 50 goals. Guys done. 50 goal scorer.
Yeah,
over. Let him go.
Yeah,
don't even try to
resign
him.
You really want to see the freakouts? Just follow anything Leafs.
Yeah, I know,
right? They are like, what is happening? Like, what do we do now? I had this argument with this kid about how they are getting rid of Nylander. He's like, there's no way they're going to get rid of Nylander. I'm like, well, then they're losing Marner.
Yeah,
I'm like, one of those things is going to happen.
Right.
Like, get it in your head because I'm showing him the Cap Geek page and everything. I'm taking screenshots, sending it to him like, well, you just must hate the Leafs. I don't give a crap about the Leafs.
I know, right?
Like, as long as they continue to lose, I am fine.
The Leafs haven't mattered to me my entire life, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm just telling you the facts, guy. Like, they spent too much money on this team.
Yeah.
And
too much money on their forward group.
That's
They're
what I'm
so
saying.
top heavy. It's like,
well, they scored a lot of goals in that last game. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind.
Forget that. Hey, hold on.
So let's dial it back to the current game.
Back to reality. Sorry.
I'm like, man, I heard about Toronto. I heard about the Rangers. I heard about all the
teams.
Hey,
listen, we had to get out of our system, right?
Yes, that is true. Does that mean I'm up next? I gotta
Nah, we destroyed you a couple weeks ago, so that's all right.
Yeah, actually, let's move right on.
Yeah.
So I guess first you want to talk about that game last night, Tampa and Boston. Did you watch that?
I had to listen to it.
Oh, okay.
I was at camp, and our antenna was messed up, so I was like, I says, you know what, I'll just, because I have the Sirius radio there, so I'm like, I'll just put that on.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different perspective when you're listening to a game on the radio.
Yeah.
There's actually, sometimes you ought to do it, just to not watch the game, just listen to it being described to you.
Well, they have a lot more leeway on what they can say,
too. Exactly.
So they'll say on the radio, like,
they'll call it right out.
Blows the call.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You'll never hear on NBC, you hear things like Pierre say, oh, it was an inadvertent high stick.
Yeah, as the guy's bleeding all over the ice.
That's a penalty. That's a penalty. There's no such thing as an inadvertent high stick, Pierre. What are you saying? Like,
doesn't make any difference. If the guy lost 7 teeth, it's a penalty. You know, I mean, jeez.
So let me tell you, I don't know how it sounded on the radio there, but that was like the tale of periods in that.
Pretty much.
Because I thought Boston dominated most of that game, but the second period, man, the Lightning had their chances. They definitely had their chances in that second period.
They didn't bury him.
They didn't do anything with it. They did nothing with it. And obviously, you watched the game. What'd you think?
I watched the majority of the game. I missed some of the third period because I was looking for the other game already. So I really don't care about Boston, Tampa Bay. I hate rooting for Boston, which I'm rooting for because I can't stand Tampa, and I don't want to see Shattenkirk get anything in Tampa.
And therein lies the reason.
Yeah. What about McDonough and all the rest of the former
paying that guy $6 million next year? I don't want to see him winning no cup. So, yeah. And every time I root for Boston, they never uphold their end of the deal.
Yeah.
So, but Boston looked good. You know, I don't think either of these teams can get past either of the other two teams on their side of the bracket.
Isles or Flyers.
Yeah. So I think this is. I just want to see them beat the hell out of each other.
And I think
I will get that because Boston. But there's no way Boston's going to let Tampa go past them without taking a guy or two with them.
Yeah.
I think Tampa almost suffers from the same syndrome Washington does sometimes. Not quite to the extent that Washington does, but kind of phone things in, take it for granted. We've got an all-star loaded roster.
We're
Tampa.
Too much.
We're Tampa. We can do what we want. We'll just turn it on. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
You did remind me of one thing I was really ticked off about in that game. I think one of the reasons why I was starting to not pay attention to it because I was getting sick of the reffing in that game. Not like penalties or whatever. This really ticked me off. Now, we saw 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was Marchand who got hurt during a penalty kill.
Yep.
And he was out there hobbling on one leg for 2 minutes. And they just kept dishing around him and he couldn't even walk. And everyone was like, what a hero Brad Marchand is.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. It's hockey. Right? In the game yesterday in Boston, Tampa, Yanni Gourde goes down to block a puck. It goes off his skate.
I saw this.
And hits the guy in the helmet.
Yeah.
In the helmet. I mean, it didn't look like it hit his ear. It looked like it hit him clean in the helmet. Now, granted, I know what hockey pucks travel at, and I'm sure it gave him a bell ring, you know? But then the puck went into the corner. Boston retrieves the puck, and the ref blew the whistle immediately.
He was laying on the ice, though.
You want to know why? In that type of situation, you have concussion spotters.
Yeah.
But they didn't take him off the ice.
I'm just saying, though, with anything to do with any kind of head injury now, that's going to be an automatic. If they see that
concussion spotters can
phone down and say, hey, we think
they can pull the horn.
Right.
Yes.
But
this was the ref.
I know, but what I'm saying to you, especially
there was no way. That's not in the rules. He should have never blown that whistle.
If the ref saw, but they have discretion. They have discretion on that, and it's just the way the NHL and any other major sport is now, or any other sport really. I mean, anything to the head, a guy goes down, they're going to blow that dead. There's just way too much to do now with concussions and all that.
That's my beef with it, Scott. That's my beef with it right there. You're blowing the whistle right away, but he just got up and went to the bench, did not get pulled out into concussion protocol or anything.
Well, he was down on the ice, though. He was down on the ice. He was laying on the ice. They blew the whistle.
Yeah,
came over and got him.
He definitely had his bell rung.
Oh, no doubt.
There was no doubt.
Right.
But they didn't pull him.
No, you're right. They brought him back to the bench.
I saw a game where Lundqvist was leading, got hit in the mask, and they took him off the ice.
Yeah.
No consistency.
That definitely could have been a lot worse, though. I mean, that anytime you get your
and Boston's
bell rung
on the
like
power
that.
play, man.
I know. Hey.
They got the puck.
I know. It's a momentum killer. But you know what else, too, with Boston, though? You don't think they're not playing with a chip on their shoulder now, thanks to Tuukka Rask?
Of course.
You don't think they don't want, in the worst way now, to win that cup? I mean, I'm sure, obviously, they wanted to before.
You heard
but
his
that
family.
It was a family emergency.
It was a family emergency.
It ended up being a family.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
So.
No, that was my beef with that.
Right.
I talked to Rich about this the other night. I got in a fight with a Boston fan online because they're saying because it came out that something would happen with his daughter.
He talked to a reporter
something.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he had a family emergency. Fine.
Right.
My point was, why did Boston lie?
Yeah.
Why did they lie and say everybody's okay? He just needed to leave.
Unless
the
maybe,
team's okay, he's okay. Everybody's happy, rainbow sunshine. But
except for the fans
going
that are going crazy, yeah.
You know what I mean? And this fan online is attacking me. What do you care? Why do you need to know? I don't need to know. And I get HIPAA laws, and I get this girl doesn't even play, she's not a team employee or nothing.
Right.
But you can't say he's got personal family matters.
Right.
Or a family emergency, a family situation.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
Just say he's got to go be with his family. And that's it. And they were like, he chose to be with his family. It makes him sound like an a-hole.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
It's like this guy is a Stanley. Well, has he won a Stanley Cup yet, right?
No, he was the backup.
He was the backup
for Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas.
Okay, so he's got one ring.
Right.
And, he's not going to just
Right. The only thing
go through all that trouble playing the
Right.
qualifying round, the round robin, and then take off. It didn't make a lot of sense. So why just...
Well, the only thing I can think of is maybe, and again, this is pure speculation, maybe he said to Don Sweeney, GM of Boston, hey, listen, I don't want to get out that I got a family emergency. I don't care the kind of heat I'm taking, but I'm out of here. Please don't say anything. And then maybe, once things calm down a little bit, maybe say, okay, yeah, now you can tell them. That's pure speculation. I don't know. I'm not.
The only thing that bothers me about them lying about it is I go, here's a Boston team. Okay? Now, Boston teams aren't really known for being up and up on the level. You know what I mean? So why lie about something that there's no reason to lie about?
Hey, at least they didn't deflate the puck.
What else are they lying about in Boston, right? Like, what else are they doing? If they're lying about things they don't need to lie about.
Warmed up the pucks.
Like, seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I have a valid point, and that's why I was arguing with this girl. I'm like, because there's no reason to lie. That's the point. Well, you must hate Boston. I'm like, I don't give a crap about Boston. I'm like, my point is, there's no reason to lie. It invites all kinds of other speculation to your team and your brand and everything else. For absolutely no reason.
I know.
But God bless Tuukka. I hope everything's fine.
Yeah.
One
way or another, he's going to be an inspiration for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get another ring still.
I think this is probably going to go a 6 or 7 game series. I don't think you're going to see.
Hope so.
I don't think you're going to see Tampa phoning in any more periods in this series. That's for sure.
No. Actually, I got to tell you, man, in that second period that I was mentioning earlier, they looked great in that second, but they just
sometimes you just don't get a break.
And then they come back in the third and went right back into it. And I can't remember who scored that second goal there for him, or the third goal it would have been.
Who, Boston?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was
Marchand.
Late.
It was Marchand. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Because it was that turnover that was
right.
Which they looked very, very.
Yeah.
And they basically hung Vasilevsky out to dry.
Right. But it's like I said, that's what Tampa does sometimes. Though they just kind of
Yeah, we're Tampa.
Next game.
I just think
too many Rangers on the team.
Vasilevsky work too hard.
You what's that?
I think Tampa.
I just don't think Cooper's tough enough on him, to be honest with you.
No.
I'm not in the room either. So
I think Tampa's been making Vasilevsky work way too hard.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and you can't just keep burning him out like that. Like,
right.
Especially
I don't care how good he is. That's you play with fire enough, you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Obviously, the Isles and the Flyers play in just a little while here, right? Or is it 8 o'clock
tonight?
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
So
7? Oh, yeah, it is 7. You're right.
7 o'clock? The times are all over the place. I can't keep track of them at all.
Well, if they have 2 games on during the week now, they're going to make it 7 and 9:30. Try to pull in more people for the later game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting kind of more spread out now with the games. It's kind of.
Well, it was crazy. I was watching the Boston game last night, and all of a sudden they mentioned Vegas going on right now. I was like, that's on? I had to switch over. And I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, that's what I did. I said, they were like, they're coming onto the ice. Fleury's taking them on the ice or something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's starting already? It's still like 15 minutes yet. But,
yeah,
it was that's a much better game to watch than Boston-Tampa.
It was at that point, definitely.
Well, it turned out it wasn't. But
yeah.
You know what? I mean, we may as well get right over to that one, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
Philly Islanders.
They're going to play later tonight. We got time to talk them.
Yeah. So the Vegas game, Canucks, that was actually a pretty good game if you got to watch it. Even though the score doesn't indicate it
I was going to say, it doesn't look like that way on paper.
Markstrom didn't have a great game. His defensemen were screening him a bunch.
Yeah.
Those are the problems for Markstrom, for any goalie,
Right.
So I expect him to bounce back. Markstrom, we know, doesn't let that amount of goals in, especially in back-to-back games.
No.
Right.
So I expect him to have potential shutout in the next game.
Yep.
That's a tall order.
That's a very tall order.
Vegas, or
Is for real.
Vancouver rather. Vancouver can skate with Vegas.
Yeah.
Except for one player on Vegas who I don't think anybody in the league can skate with. You know what I'm gonna say?
Alex Tuck.
Alex Tuck, man. Did you see?
I think Connor McDavid would beg to differ with that, but
you didn't get to see his goal last night. You
I
said
didn't
you
see
were
it.
listening.
Yeah, I was listening. So.
Okay, he blew
That's
past
what they said. He beat 3 guys,
3 guys,
including Quinn Hughes.
and Scott. This wasn't like they were having trouble getting back.
Yeah,
they were back.
Yeah,
and he just went like, "Hey guys, thanks for the puck," and I'm on a breakaway. And it was like, what? I watched that play, and I'm like, I don't think Connor McDavid's this fast.
By the way,
I would love to
Baldwinsville's
see
very own Alex Tuck.
Yep.
What's that?
Baldwinsville's very own Alex Tuck.
Oh, he's from Baldwinsville?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See? It's an educational show.
Hey, look at that.
Because everybody knows where Baldwinsville
Yeah, I
is.
know, right? That's the whole Budweiser brewery. How do you not know?
That's going to be on the next show.
Better off just saying Syracuse.
But,
Yeah, right.
but if he can make an all-star game in the upcoming next year or two, I would love to see him in the fastest skater competition. I don't think anybody could touch him right now. That was the most amazing thing of that game to me. And really, that game was close up until that goal. Like,
well, you know,
after that goal, I thought they should have pulled Markstrom.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? Give the guy a
just
period
get
off.
him out of there. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know what? Put
You're not going to
Demko
come
in,
back.
let him get some experience.
Yeah.
in the
Some
playoffs.
time.
I
Yeah.
thought so, too.
Like, I
Yeah.
thought it was a real big mistake keeping him in for the whole game.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
I know
just for
Markstrom's got
rest more than-
pride and whatever, but, like...
You know what, though? And goalies understand that. Sometimes it's just not your night.
Yep.
And sometimes coaches do that, obviously, to change their goal, just to change things up a little bit or say, a shake-up. Say, okay, I'm serious. We just changed goalies. Let's get going.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing, like, with Vancouver, you're right. They're a speed team, and they, for the most part, can stay with Vegas. But they just beat St. Louis, who's really a physical, big, I don't want to say plotting team, but, you know, they're no Vegas.
No.
Right? And Vancouver found out. They're like, uh-oh. Now we're in a track meet. You know, before they were in a boxing match, now it's a track meet. So obviously adjustments are going to have to be made.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And they're going to have to start clocking the neutral zone up. They're going to have to try to, you know.
It's funny because you say that, because at the beginning of that game yesterday, it was absolutely a track meet. But I didn't think Vegas was winning that meet in the beginning. Like, Vancouver was getting a lot of chances.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the first 5-10 minutes of that game, but Vegas capitalized. Yeah. That's it. That was the difference. And as we often see in these playoff games, the team that scores first has a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Sure.
And once that happened, that's when Vegas was like, okay, now we don't have to do a track meet anymore.
Right.
Just they do. And now we can clock things up.
Force them to make mistakes.
And do the quick transition on them.
Right.
You know, like, and that's really, that's what Vancouver needs an answer to.
Exactly.
That's what they need the answer to.
You know, while we're on Vegas here, I have to bring up the. I talked to you guys about this earlier. So obviously, Marc-Andre Fleury, his agent. I don't remember his agent's name, but
Alan Walsh.
Alan Walsh, not Adam Walsh. That's bad. All right, Alan Walsh put out that meme or meme or whatever the hell it is. Basically, it was a picture of Fleury with the sword through his back. And I know that
the sword said DeBoer.
Yeah. And Fleury says he didn't know anything about that. Didn't really help his cause. That I know. It didn't really help his cause that Robin Leonard pitches a shutout.
He said it twice in that interview that he didn't know anything about it.
Yeah,
but his body language said something else.
Yeah,
like he kind of gave him the okay to post it. Like, I'm sorry, and it's. Why has there got to be so much drama?
They said on NBC broadcast that, like, he laughed, like, he was laughing about it. He was a really, like, good sport. He thought it was, like, funny.
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if it was
didn't
him
affect
trying
him
to send
last
a
night.
message to the coach or what, but, like...
It obviously didn't get in Leonard's head.
I was gonna say it picked the wrong day to put that thing out there.
No, the only person getting in Leonard's head was Roussel.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Before the game even starts.
Yeah.
Roussel, they were doing the warm-ups, and former Utica Roussel, he comes over and he starts, like, he tapped Leonard on the back of the leg or something, and he starts, like, talking to him over the red line, you know, like getting in his head.
Yeah.
And as soon as the game started, he, like, comes by and he taps on Leonard, pushes him in the back. They're
chirping.
Roussel was trying to be a pest all night, though. I mean,
But that's what he
tried to
does.
go. He tried to get in a fight. He tried to get Ryan Reeves to fight him after the fourth goal, and Reeves was just like pointing up at the scoreboard.
Right.
And then they gave him a 10-minute misconduct for giving him a hug.
And I know me and Scott both picked Vancouver to beat the Blues, but they still deserve credit. They just knocked off the champs.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
You know, now they're going to play the first place team, the first seed team. Man, if they can knock out Vegas, that's a huge boost.
And
for
you know,
Vancouver.
here's the thing too: we're no longer in these best of 5 series, so losing game 1 isn't the end all
not
be
death
all
sentence.
Right.
that it was in that first round.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but that I said, let's go back to Vegas real quick. It's real interesting now with Robin Leonard and all this drama behind Marc-Andre Fleury. What are they going to do in the offseason? Because obviously they're going to want Leonard to stay,
Yeah.
right?
Who's gonna?
Leonard wants to be paid though,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he wants a long-term contract.
Right.
So, just kind of throwing devil's advocate out there. Could you imagine if Vegas ends up buying out Marc-Andre Fleury's
That's a big
contract?
buyout.
Could you imagine that fan
That's a
base
lot
is
of
going to go
money.
insane?
How much longer
he's
does
7
Fleury got?
He's got one more. He's next season is all he got left, and he's at $7 million for a cap hit.
Whether
So-
they even if they buy him out,
If they buy him
7
out, then the cap hit goes down. I think it's like $4 million, but then they got to pay like $8 million the following season. Kind of like with the whole breakdown
the
because he's
cap
over 35.
recap show,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first year isn't so bad, but the second year is like insane.
yeah, that's why we're paying Shattenkirk $6 million. next year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's going to be real interesting because I'm going to tell you right now, and especially if Vegas makes a deep run with Leonard, he's going to want at least $8 million a year, and that's a starting point,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And he's going to want 6 or 7 years. 'Cause,
Honestly,
he's what,
I think
28,
8 million
29 now,
would
something
be a
like that?
deal.
Yeah, he's right around there. Yeah.
So he's going to want some long-term security, you know. So it's going to be
Also, Scott, you're saying 8 mil start right now.
yeah, exactly,
They go further.
right,
They go to a conference final. They go to a cup final.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you look at what Carey Price is making, what Vasilevsky's making
Yeah.
now, Bobrovsky, you know.
That
He makes a
Bobrovsky
run.
contract's going to be awful.
Yeah. And what do those 3 goalies have in common? None of them won a cup. So Leonard can turn around, even if they make it to the final, and say, hey, listen, those guys haven't won a cup. Give me my money and give me my contract, or I'm walking.
You know,
And you know who would be a real dangerous one to sneak in on that? Colorado.
Yep.
Because they'd have the cap space to do it. And I don't know if you want to jump over to Colorado right now or if you want me to save my little spiel about Colorado.
I actually wanted to ask you, Mazat, you sound like you're picking Vancouver for this.
on this series,
I
I
got
want
Vegas.
Vancouver.
Yeah. I
do
There's
too,
no
but-
doubt. I'm rooting for Vancouver 100%. I'm rooting for they're my team now. I'm rooting for
Yep.
them all the way. But it's a tall hill.
All
It's
right.
a tall hill for this Vegas team. I'll pick Vancouver. I'll pick them.
You'll do it.
Yeah, I want them. I think they can do it. I have faith in Green, man. And Green has to do this.
Yeah.
He's on. Even though everybody in Vancouver is happy they got past the first round, they ain't gonna be happy if they get swept
Right.
by Vegas. You
Right.
know what I mean? Then all of a sudden Green's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I think Green really needs this series bad.
Yeah.
I think Green wins this series. He's no longer on the hot seat.
I don't even think he's on the hot seat if they lose to Vegas, to be honest with you. Because who else? Who are they going to bring in?
I don't know those
Who are they-
Laviolette.
Nah, you know what though? Travis Green has done such a good job
I know.
turning that around. I mean, let's put it this way: Vancouver hasn't been past the first round since they went to the Cup final in 11. So even getting past the first round is a huge step. You know,
So who you pick? I know who you want to win.
I obviously want Vancouver to win more than anything in the world, but I just think Vegas is going to be too much for them at the end.
Yeah.
I think they're going to put up a much better fight than what Game 1 showed, but I think it's going to be Vegas in the end,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yosh, what do you think on that?
I'm kind of in agreement with Scott. I want Vancouver. I want Vancouver to do it, but I think Vegas is going to be too much for him.
Yeah. I'm going to say that, Vegas is. I see Vegas going to the finals, man. I'm sorry, but that's just me. My whole bracket's busted, anyways. What do I count? So
Yeah. By the way, how are our brackets looking anyway?
Oh,
I
mine's,
don't know. I don't know whose is what on the thing. So.
Mine's busted up.
mine was
I
busted
picked
after the first
Columbus
round.
over Tampa.
yeah.
I picked Carolina over Boston.
See, I got to go with Tampa because I got Tampa winning the Cup. So
I picked Calgary
as much as it would break my
over
heart if they got eliminated,
Dallas.
just for bragging rights.
I did.
Well.
Yeah, I picked Calgary.
I think I did.
Yeah,
And I
because
picked-
everybody's Cup winner is still in it, though, right?
Yeah, my cup
Philly.
winners. Yeah,
Everybody's still in it.
I picked the Avalanche for the cup winners.
Right.
So
I think I had. Who did I have? I had Vegas and I had the Isles, if I remember right.
I think
who do you have winning Vegas?
Vegas.
I think my Stanley Cup final is the Flyers and the Avalanche.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah.
Flyers, Avs.
I got the Avs and Lightning, so.
Although I'm not feeling so confident.
I know,
about that anymore.
I know, right?
Actually, speaking of that series, so what do we know about Grubauer? I mean, he was hurt. He's out tonight, right?
Yeah,
Or tomorrow?
He's unfit to play, and they won't say anything further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
But I guess now by the rules, these new rules because of COVID and all that, they cannot elaborate on any kind of injury or anything whatsoever.
No,
because-
they're not allowed to.
Yeah, so
Lower
It
body.
makes sense because if they
because
could,
of COVID and all
then
that,
everybody
sure.
would know. Oh, you're not elaborating. You must have COVID,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason.
But that was a weird injury. Did you see in that game? He didn't get hit. He just kind of went to the side, put his knee down to make a save, and it looked like he
It
just.
almost looked
it's
like maybe
kind of
his
the
skate
same-
got caught in a rut or something like
Brain
that.
almost the
injury?
same injury he got in the outdoor game. It was
Yeah.
almost the exact same way he went down in the outdoor game when he went out towards the end of the season there.
Yeah.
Did they say what that one was?
I think it was his knee,
Lower body.
lower body. Yeah, because I had both Grubauer and
Francois.
Francouz on my fantasy team. So.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
What'd you think of that first game?
well, first of all, I didn't know it was happening.
It was,
right.
but it was a quick change there.
They
Yeah.
did not.
I talked to
It
you
was
about
not
that.
on the NHL schedule on their
Yeah.
app Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Friday afternoon, I looked to what's on Saturday, and it was blank.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. Now, it should have clued me in. It didn't say no game scheduled.
Right.
It was just blank. So I guess somebody said, oh, they got added later that
Yeah.
night. But I was like, doing whatever on Saturday, and then I looked, and I'm like, this game's almost over. Like, I didn't even know it was playing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I went back and watched it because I bought the NHL TV, and Dallas is looking like the team that I watched most of the season now. Like they look like they're up to par, and you got to remember, Colorado didn't beat Dallas once during the regular season.
Nope.
4 games, all wins for Dallas. Now 2 of those games went into extra time, which is a whole different monster we know in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But man, after that first game, now that means the last 5 times Dallas played Colorado, they beat them. You know what I mean? The odds go up every time that happens, right? Of it happening, So
But Carolina couldn't beat the Rangers.
I
in
was
the regular
just
season.
gonna say
So-
that.
But you know what?
that's my
Dallas came out and slapped Colorado. Is what they did.
That's
They
my
did.
point.
Because Colorado
Scott.
hasn't played anybody really. I mean, Arizona did not put up a fight.
No.
I mean, if
But-
it wasn't for
but
Darcy
that's-
Kemper, that would have been over in a huge hurry.
That's my point. Is that the Rangers hadn't had beaten Colorado.
Right.
Like the odds of the Rangers continuing to beat a team after they,
Right.
the odds go down and down and down. The other team's gonna win one eventually.
Right.
So that's the same thing I'm saying for
Okay.
Dallas.
All right, I got
like
you.
the more Dallas
Right.
keeps winning,
Right.
Colorado's got to win sooner or later.
Something.
Most likely the next game.
Right.
It's been 5 games in a row. How long is this going to keep going? Statistically speaking,
Right.
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah, I don't see a sweep coming here.
No.
The 2 things. Number 1, how smart does Dallas look for not trading Miro Heiskanen in that, trying to get Erik Karlsson back?
Oh God, yes.
They look
Yeah.
like geniuses right
He's
now.
awesome.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
I was telling somebody the other day, he reminds me a little bit of Brian Leach, but with much better physicality.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly that. Yeah.
His passing and shooting are Leach-like. His skating's Leach-like, except, and not to say Leach couldn't throw the body, but
Right.
Heiskanen's definitely a bigger, heavier body.
Now, he does have the luxury of having John Klingberg around, too.
Yes.
So he doesn't have all that pressure of being the number 1. But, oh, my God, this kid is going to be a major star in this league. I'll tell
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Pardon the pun.
He's going to be playing Weber minutes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And number 2, and we talked about this at our trade deadline show, and I said it then, and I'm still saying it, Colorado should have done something about that goaltending at the trade deadline. They had plenty of space, and they still had the ability to send Francouz down to the minors at that point.
Yep.
He was still waiver exempt. Now he's not. So going into next year, forget it. If they put him on waivers, somebody's going to scoop him up because he's no longer exempt because he played the over the minimum of what you his
Yeah,
rookie
I can't
contract
remember
or so.
what
I
it
can't remember
is.
what the number is.
Yeah.
But
15
anyways,
games or something.
yeah,
like that.
it's because it's different for goalies than it is
Yeah.
for skaters. But now they're kind of stuck with Grubauer for one more year. I'm sorry, I just don't buy into Philip Grubauer being a number 1 goalie. You know, it was a great experiment, wonderful, but he's a very, 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 very good backup. A kind of guy you definitely want being able to come in if your starting goalie goes down. But as far as him carrying you for a season and carrying you deep into a playoff run, he's not the guy. He really isn't.
The only thing I don't like about Grubauer is that he seems to be bitten by the injury bug.
That too.
He misses a lot of time. He missed a lot of time during the regular season this year. And Francouz was good enough. To keep them.
And there was times when Francouz was spectacular.
Yeah.
Isn't it Francois?
No, it's Francouz.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pavel Francouz.
Yeah. But the thing is though, if you're Colorado and you got that kind of a talent on your team and you got a legit cup contending team, and you got that kind of cap space, and you're going to have that kind of cap space into the foreseeable future, why do you not make a deal to get like a Robin Lehner?
Yeah.
Or even talk to the Rangers and say, hey, talk to Hank about waiving his no move. Because I think Hank
he could pull a
I think Hank
Colorado
for a chance to go for a cup.
He could pull a Ray Bork.
Sure, exactly. And they could have absorbed that cap hit.
Yep.
And, so the Rangers probably wouldn't have got a lot in return for him. No. But you know what? They'd have been very glad to get rid of that cap hit without having to buy him out.
Take a third-round pick at this point, I would think.
I'd have taken a fifth or a sixth just to get rid of the cap hit.
Fifth-round pick, probably.
Oh, well. Take what you can get.
Hank was selected in the 6th round, wasn't he?
Seventh.
Yeah.
They don't even have a 7th round anymore.
Yeah.
No, I know.
No, they do have a 7th round, but he was actually sooner than that, or later than that, I thought, wasn't it?
It was late 7th.
Okay,
well,
whatever.
He's like one of the last people picked.
Right. Almost Mr. Irrelevant, right?
You know what the funny part is? His brother was in the same draft.
Yeah, he was.
Picked in like the 2nd or 3rd for Dallas. And his career did not last long in NHL.
No, right. But you know what, though? If you're Colorado now going into the offseason, do you put the big offer into Robin Lehner and run into the same problem the Rangers had this year, maybe having to carry 3 goalies, or put one on waivers, risk losing them?
You know what, man? I read this good article about Glenn Sather, how awful he was for the Rangers. And all his trades and draft picks, everything. It's a shit show. But regardless, they mentioned something that I thought was very interesting. You do not need an all-star goaltender to win a Stanley Cup anymore. Like, I don't know if you ever did, but think about it, of who's been winning the Stanley Cup. Like, it's not really the goalie that's been winning the games. Not to say you could have crap in there, but let's look. Chicago won it with Niemi, right?
Yeah, but at the time he was a number 1 top-rated goalie. Not the top-rated, but I'm saying he was a number 1 goalie, and he was like in the upper echelons of the tiers for. Yeah, he was back then, 2010. You're talking 10 years ago.
I know what I'm talking. But he was like hardly in the league, Niemi. What are you talking about?
Oh, stop.
How many years has he been playing in 2010?
But still, he was considered one of the top, in the top echelons anyway. Not the guy, but
right. But I mean, like, he didn't win that cup.
Well,
Chicago did. Like Tim Thomas didn't win that cup. Boston did. You know what I mean? The rest of the team did. Like, he was good. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so the Kings win in 2012 without Jonathan Quick?
Good. But you can win with a good goalie. You don't need an outstanding goalie. That's my point. And when you pay an outstanding goalie $10 million, $11 million to be on your team, you're taking away from the other positions you need to win a cup.
Okay, so
I think that's a very interesting theory.
Florida.
Yeah? Yeah, that's going to kill them.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to kill. And they have so much other talent on that team that they are not going to be able to hang on to now because they're paying that
Bob
bad
Rofsky
goalie too much.
Well, and not only that, it's going to be a mess. Even wait till Barkov wants to get paid.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But I still don't think that you can just throw anybody in.
I didn't say anybody.
I
said a good goalie. You don't need a great goalie. I don't think. I would much rather have a great defenseman and a great center, or two great centers.
I would much rather have a goalie that that you can depend on, rather than, well, is this guy going to show up tonight? Is this going to be the day that he turns into a pumpkin? I mean, that's.
So let's clear it right now. So who do you like in this series?
Okay, so how about take Washington when they won the Cup? I mean, they ended up yanking Grubauer out after 2 games. Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, Holtby came on like a house of fire after that.
Yeah. Who do you like in this series?
The Colorado-Dallas?
Yeah.
I think Colorado's going to end up winning it.
Okay.
I do. For the simple reason, I don't see Dallas scoring 5 goals every game.
No.
That's their Achilles heel. I mean, yeah, that was a big outlier. They scored 5 goals against Colorado, or in game 1. But that's what ends up hurting them in the end, is they have a hard time scoring goals. And eventually they're going to have to depend on Hudobin, because you don't think that Colorado's not going to wake up. As good as Dallas is defensively, they haven't played a team like Colorado yet.
He looked good the other night, though.
He looked good the other night.
Great the other night.
Yeah, but here we go back to talking about great goalies. Would you feel much better if Ben Bishop was in?
You know what? They're kind of a wash to me, personally. And I've watched a bunch of Dallas games this year. They're interesting to me as a tandem because they have different goaltending styles. Bishop is more of a angles and
when you take up 90% of the net by standing in front of it, of course,
But Kudobin's more cat-like and flexible, and at some point, I don't know. I almost think it's better, in these types of situations, to just, what most coaches do is you go with the hot guy. Once the team figures that guy out, if all of a sudden Colorado comes back next game and pots 6 in on Khudobin, I'd go to Bishop the next game. You know what I mean? What I do like about these playoffs with their pace is that everybody's having to use both goalies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's really interesting to me. I really enjoy that, And I thought it was going to work out for Carolina when they put Reimer back in, but that last one did not.
No.
Mazat, who do you like in this series?
I like Dallas. I actually, in one of my brackets, I picked Dallas to win the Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I have Dallas versus Colorado in the conference final, and I purposefully worked my bracket that way because I did not think that Dallas could beat Colorado in this round. I think if Dallas got past this round, they could beat Colorado with the confidence boost, but I don't think Dallas is going to beat Colorado in this round.
That's all right.
I love to see Dallas. I like both of these teams, and they're great teams to watch. It's really unfortunate to me the way these brackets are working out.
Right.
Because, I wish somehow, Tampa could play Colorado and Boston could play, Dallas and just get rid of those two teams because...
Yeah.
Yosh, what do you got?
I've got the Avalanche. They're just too good offensively.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they kind of threw a game to Arizona as a pity game, and then they came back. Oh, by the way, we're going to score 7 goals this game. See you later. I mean, Kadri's playing insane. Nathan McKinnon, obviously. Cale Makar. The team's too good.
It's funny you mentioned Kadri. I saw a few tweets so the Leafs could have won. The Leafs could have won if Kadri didn't get suspended. Is that what you're telling me? It's well, they might have. But you'll never know now.
How do you feel? How do you feel if you're in the front office in Toronto right now? Kadri just scored, 9 points in 5 games.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about the Flyers game here at Flyers Isles, because if we don't do that, I'm going to get my face punched by a bunch of different friends here. They're all.
Did you see Gritty is going to Toronto?
Toronto, Ohio.
and I got to say, the best gift I've ever seen is the one you gave our friend Gus. You gave his son a Gritty doll, because Gus has been the Flyers fan for as long as I've known him.
Oh yeah, his whole life.
Yeah, and even when we used to break his balls about
and he used to wear that Flyers jersey to Devils games in 1990. So
yeah,
he's always been a Flyers fan.
Absolutely. So you got to give it up to him for that. But
I was messaging him and I asked him does your son have a Gritty doll yet? And he was like, no, not yet. And while I was still messaging him, I'm like, all right, Wells Fargo Center alternate jersey, nice. Send him the alternate jersey Gritty doll. And then I addressed it to his son, his son is 2, 3?
Just turned 3.
Just turned 3, right. So I sent it to his son, and I just thought it'd be really funny, get a package in the mail. It's addressed to my 3-year-old. What is going on? But the picture he sent me of him, his little son, his name's Grayson. He's at the door, and he's looking at the doll huh?
He's got what the hell?
He's got this confused look on his face,
how anybody
I'm
looks at
happy
Gritty.
that I got a doll or a toy,
right?
but I don't know what this is.
Nightmare fuel.
I was like, that is the perfect. I'm like, that is the perfect response to getting a Gritty doll. But yeah, those videos of Gritty going to Toronto, Ohio are great.
But I gotta say, for as great as Philly looks, the Islanders, man, the Islanders look.
Islanders are a good team.
The Islanders are built for playoff hockey.
Yeah, they are.
That's why.
They're
absolutely built for it.
This should be a brutal series.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be an old-fashioned slobber knocker.
Slobber knocker. I knew the name of it.
I've been waiting to use that word.
Yeah. You get the points. Yes.
I don't know. This series, as much as I think it's going to be a battle,
Yeah.
I have a tendency to think it's going to be over quick.
Really?
I think the games are going to be battles, but I can see the Islanders winning, 4 or 5, 4-3. You know what I mean? Because that's just how the Isles grind.
Yeah.
But that's also how Philly grinds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'll be surprising to me if the game's victories actually go back and forth. I think once one of these teams gets a good advantage or gets that third game, I think they're going to punch it out quick. And that is an advantage we have not talked about, because with these rounds not getting any breaks at all between days, the NHL is not wasting anybody's time in this bubble.
Right.
Which I think is actually admirable of the NHL.
Right.
Be like, listen, your families aren't here. Next round we might see a change because families are allowed to.
Well, plus they want to get this. They want to get this
conference.
over as soon as possible. So because of training camps and all that for the teams that are in there long,
Right. But do you see what if they get done now, they get done in 5, let's say, Philly, they might have a week off, just like Vegas did. Yeah. Vancouver got 1 day off before they had to play again.
But sometimes that works against teams too.
Yeah, I'd say that.
It does.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's weird
it does,
how that works.
I have a feeling that in this instance, it's going to work more in teams' favors. Just because of the way they had to come in after a break, I think their muscles could probably use a couple days
Absolutely.
of rest and recuperation, for getting back at it. So I think that's a big advantage that whatever team gets, and all of these series, you get to that third game, you need to seal this up immediately.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't be disappointed at all if either one of these teams went all the way. I like them both. I like Philly and I like the Islanders.
I have Philly going all the way, but in my bracket, I don't
really
even think.
do. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Scott.
But I think in this series, and I'm sorry, Islanders fans, because like I said, I wouldn't be disappointed at all if you guys went all the way. But I think this is kind of the series where the Islanders have a tendency to have a problem scoring. And Carter Hart is just playing too well right now. He's playing too good. And I do think that's going to play right into Philadelphia's advantage, and I do think Philadelphia's going to end up taking the series. But it is going to be a war. There's nobody's going to just kind of waltz through this series. Like,
No.
No. Because the Islanders are, like I've said 1,000 times, they're built for the playoffs. They're the one team left that can legitimately roll 4 lines, and it doesn't bother them one bit. There's a lot of these teams that are left that have got to go with their top 2 lines or even their top 3 lines. But the Islanders' bread and butter is their 4th line. They got the best 4th line in the league. There's no denying that. And when you can do that, you can give your top players a rest.
Yeah.
You don't have to run them out for 3/4 of the third period because you're desperate to get a goal.
Yeah.
If you can stick with that 4-line roll it system, and let's face it, Semyon Varlamov is playing fantastic.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that.
He's playing great.
Oh, Washington, he's the goalie and the coach you guys had just beat you.
Yeah, exactly. What a slap in the face that is.
And now the Islanders, who did I say was going to be great for the Islanders? Was I wrong? He is lighting it up. Every shift.
Yeah.
Every shift you notice that guy. I mean, he never gives up. But
you know what else has been fantastic for them is Brock Nelson.
Yep.
The most underrated second-line center in the league.
Here's an interesting thing to me about these whole playoffs. We've usually been in, for the past number of years, the divisional format with 2 wild cards. Now, they went to that format because they wanted to re-increase the rivalries of the divisions. Now, this whole thing went back to seeding.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And they reseed each round.
And look where we're at.
And what did we get? A Metro Division rival, and the Flyers and the Islanders haven't played each other in a playoff match since 1987.
Right.
And the other bracket, we got Boston and Tampa Bay rivals. Oh, Dallas and Colorado rivals.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the same division.
That's true.
And they just went by seeding. Who thought it could happen?
Exactly, right? Sometimes you just throw the dice and it comes out the
But
way you
that's
want
what I'm
it.
saying. Like they should just go back to this. It creates much better matchups in
Oh
hockey.
yeah. I never liked the divisional format.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we got about 2 minutes left here. So let's get our votes in. So who do you got for the series?
For this series,
Yeah.
I got to go Philly. I got to. Like I said, Carter Hart's going to make the difference.
Yeah.
As good as Varlamov's been, Carter Hart's been better.
Okay. All right. Yosh.
I think
listen,
Philadelphia,
as you got the
Philadelphia's got the offense to do it.
Listen. I have a lot of hockey jerseys. I do, and I want to get one from every team in the league. Well, not every team. I'll have when the Kraken come in. I'll own 31 jerseys. Anyone want to take a guess what jersey I will never own?
No.
I understand.
Nope. Rich, what jersey will I never own?
You want to? So Mazat, who do you got?
Obviously, it's Pittsburgh.
I already know who you got in this series.
See, in my bracket, I didn't have them playing each other, so this is a tough call for me. But I mean, I have Philly going all the way to the finals, so I'm going to go with Philly.
All right.
I told you I did like 5 brackets and I picked some different winners. There was a bracket where I had the Islanders playing Philly and I had the Islanders over Philly.
Really? Okay.
But in many of my brackets, I picked Philly to win the cup. And this one it's complete toss up to me.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be over. I don't think it's 7. I could be wrong. And it'll be a great entertaining hockey if it does go 7. But I have a feeling it's going to go 5. And I have a feeling the Islanders. I think Trotz is a better coach.
Really?
Than Yo.
So
I'm
are we saying
sorry.
Isles and 5?
I also think Kevin Hayes is dried up. I think Kevin Hayes is.
Sour
great for my
grapes.
contract.
Sour grapes.
What?
Biggest mistake you guys made was getting rid of him.
I don't. think
You'd
that's
had your
the
legit
biggest
second line
mistake
center. You wouldn't even have to worry
Biggest
about
mistake we ever made was Hugh Jessamine. Okay, let's get that right. All right? That's the biggest mistake the Rangers ever made. The second biggest mistake they ever made, Bobby Sanguinetti. Okay?
Breaking that name out.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So are you really saying you're saying in 5?
You know, and I don't care really because whoever does, I want to win the next round too.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm Team Metro now. Team Metro division. Whoever gets it, go to the cup, win that cup. Prove that we're the best division in hockey.
Yeah.
Because I'm fully convinced of that.
Oh boy.
But like I said, I had Isles because I can't root for the Flyers. I just can't.
No, yeah, that's fair.
For the same reason you won't buy
I
that
feel
Penguins jersey.
I feel very dirty wearing this, and I can't wait to take it off. But.
We got some hand sanitizer.
It wouldn't surprise me if Philly wins. It really wouldn't. But,
Yeah.
I have a feeling this.
Yeah, you're just flipping a coin on this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a real tough matchup. He's got valid points. Carter Hart's been great.
Oh, he has. Absolutely has.
Varlamov has more experience.
He does.
Too,
he does.
So
my biggest worry is
like,
the Islanders scoring drying up. Because that happens to them sometimes. And if it happens against Carter Hart, they're going to have an awful hard time winning this series.
Yeah.
See,
that's the only thing I'm worried
their
about.
scoring dries up, but I don't feel that their push or drive
Oh, no.
ever
Not
has.
at all.
No.
Not
all
at all.
season.
Yeah.
I mean, I
No.
don't think the Islanders have phoned in a game all year.
And they never will.
I
They
don't
never
think
will.
Trotz allows that to happen.
No.
Whereas AV is famous for letting his teams go out there to play, and they are asleep in the first period.
Yeah.
And you can't do that against the Islanders. Islanders have 4 goals in on you the first 10 minutes.
Right.
You
What
do
I'm
that.
saying is
I
if
don't
the
care
Islanders
Carter Hart or
scoring
not.
does dry up, number one, you got to try to get past Carter Hart, and 2, Philly's loaded with firepower. So
Yeah, they are.
Philly was the only
Islanders end up
team.
taking out a guy or two.
well, that's, that could happen too. But
I think in the round robin too, Philly was the only team that
Took it
actually
serious.
showed up to play.
Yep.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
in the round
Exactly.
robin, you watched any of those games where Philly was playing. I watched them play the Caps, and the Caps were kind of just skating around, and Philly was just
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like we
In
said
there.
before, they've been sleepwalking for a while.
Yeah.
right.
So
Whereas the Islanders, I mean, they had to play the Rangers in the exhibition game,
Yeah.
and they were
Yeah.
pounding
Oh,
immediately.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, out of all the exhibition
Yeah.
games, that one was like brutal.
Yeah.
Well, it's the 2 teams that took it serious right from the start that are now colliding. So this is going to be a great series.
Yeah.
You know?
7 o'clock tonight it is?
7.
7
7
o'clock.
o'clock. All right. Set my watch.
Yeah, I'll be getting messages from Gus, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, have you noticed that anytime there's a victory, now he's posting them all? He's got the big things that he's posted on Facebook. I'm like, damn it. Because I did that every year, the Pens one. So
Oh, is
now,
that what
so
happened?
now I I got to eat a little crow or whatever it is that they say. So, anyways, let's get on out of here. We're right on time. So, yeah, game time 7:00 tonight, and I will catch you guys back here next Monday, right?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So for Scott, for Yosh, and for Mr. Chris Mazzotti, I'm Rich Masucci. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.
See ya.
Later.
Peace.